And I've always, again, been, I was a transaction coordinator, a director of operations, an integrator. So somebody that has been part of like talking to business owners, working with staff, helping people onboard staff, helping with efficiency and systems, that type of thing. About 3 years ago, I set out on my own as an independent contractor. And now I go and help teams that are growing or expanding and don't have the infrastructure nor the business knowledge of how to set up a team most efficiently. And so I have a very I have one client at a time typically, because it's a big undertaking, kind of like an angel DOO is what I've been called, but can come in, assess the needs of the business, decide if it's a system or a person that needs to be updated, changed, brought in, that type of thing. And so I'm just super passionate about that topic. And so what Cari and I have done over the last several months is kind of just hone in on one topic per month and see if it resonates with anybody. And so last month we talked about our planning process for 2024. I did drop a document into the workplace chat to share with people about things that we thought were important to go over. But today, I thought with all of the conversation about the market and the shifting market as usual, how can we be optimal business owners and efficient with our expenses, with our people, with our processes? What can we do to really lean into a time when we should be assessing the health of our business, the financial health of our business? We can't keep operating the way we have been when we are seeing a shift in our income. So that was my goal. Anybody else have some immediate thoughts or questions they wanted to cover today?
Go ahead and chat in the chat box if you do. I'm also monitoring the live stream. Use the chat box or just raise your hand. We want this to be interactional. And so are there things in your business operations wise that you know are missing that you want Sharon to cover or maybe provide some opportunity of Cari? And before we do this, you guys, just really quick, because I didn't get a chance to, welcome back to eXp Family Trees Wednesday call. This is what this is. Every single Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern, we have guests on. Once a month, we have Sharon Casey with us talking about operations specifically, which I'm very excited about, because as we become more efficient in our business, we can go lead generate more. We can actually create more momentum. If we're not efficient, we can't do that. And in this upcoming market, as Sharon has mentioned, that's extremely important. It is live streamed at eXp Family Tree. So for those of you that are watching, hi, I see a number of you watching. You can chat below that live stream as well if you're not here, or join us via Zoom. And if you like this and you want to rewatch it, or you have somebody you'd like to share it with, this will be up on my YouTube channel. Just search for my name on YouTube. It'll be up within probably about 12 hours. So without further ado, okay, Cari, what question do you have? Welcome to the call.
Oh, hi. Hello, everyone. Okay. I don't know if this is something that you guys talk about, but this question is more revolved around networking and introverts, or people who identify as introverts. And I'm just curious on what advice would you give to a person who is breaking into this business, who may have a hard time meeting new people, which is the irony of it all, that this is a people's business, a people contact and relationship building business, but everyone in this business isn't, extroverted or out there. So I'm curious to know, what advice would you give to anyone, but especially introverted people, when it comes to networking and building clientele?
Awesome.
Thank you.
So if you're okay with it, Sharon, I'm going to talk just a little bit about the sales component of it, and then I'm going to let you talk if there's any operational things based on what I say. That would be cool. That would be a great way for us to loop this around. So good question, Cari. And I think any sort of lead generation, networking is one of them. You have to have systems behind it. So we'll hear Sharon's feedback on that, because if we can have systems, the fortune is in the follow-up. You have to make the first contact, but really you have to have a good system for follow-up and bringing value to people, or you won't convert. So that's the system side and the operation side. And it can be very simple. It does not have to be complex. It just has to be in place. As far as people who aren't super extroverted, that's a little bit of a myth understanding of our industry. My husband is not an extrovert and is a highly successful real estate agent. I know many in my organization that are not very extroverted. However, what they are is they are people that like to help other people. And I think that's very different than being extroverted or introverted. How you're going to lead generate is going to be different based on your personality and your behavioral style. But if you tap into what really drives you to be in this business in the first place, which is typically just helping people and providing value, then you can do it in your own way and you can be extremely successful. You do not have to be extroverted to be a top agent in real estate. What I would say about networking specifically, and I'm actually going to do a video about this. It's so funny that you asked this because I woke up this morning thinking about what can I share with people today? Because that's like a habit I have now, getting consistent on my video was literally networking. People go to networking groups and the first thing that they think of is I need to meet a bazillion people and I need to figure out who can give me business. And that is not the right attitude, nor is it going to work. If you go to a networking appointment, you need to figure out if you can talk to just a small handful of people, create a meaningful connection, and you're going to ask yourself, what can I do for those 5 people that brings them value? Can I connect them with somebody? Can I learn about their business and give them a suggestion? Can I do something? Can I tell somebody about their business? Can I go share my social about their business? Can I do a selfie and say, I just met a really cool person that has this business. If you're looking for this, you should reach out to so-and-so and tag them in the video, because now you're doing something of value for somebody else. That's going to deepen the relationship. And there is something called the law of reciprocity, and it's real. And that is that if a human being helps somebody, they want to help them back, even if they don't know they want to help them back. It is a subconscious thing that we want to do. So now we're going to go away from that meeting thinking, gosh, I really liked Cari. I talked all about myself and my business, but I feel like I like Cari and I know Cari because I talked about myself. That's what our mind does. The conversation was good because I got to share everything about myself with Cari. Not that Cari's out there telling everything about himself. That would be what an extrovert would want to do. What an introvert wants to do is learn about other people and have one-on-one conversations that make us feel like we have purpose and that we're meeting people, but not in an overwhelming way. So do something that's going to bring them value and you're going to feel great about it. And you don't have to do it in a large group setting. You don't have to go meet 25 people at a networking event. You could meet 2 or 3 if you did it right. But what doing it right means coming from contribution, learning about them, figuring out how you can deepen that relationship and how you can bring them value. And then you have to have a follow-up system because you got to stay in touch with them. If you go meet somebody and you make a good interaction and you do nothing about it for the rest of your life, they're going to eventually forget about you and you're not going to capitalize on business opportunities. So Sharon, what would you say from a business operations perspective when it comes to meeting people and like putting them in a database, et cetera?
Yeah. So Cari, how long have you been in the business?
Well, technically I was licensed in 2016, but I'm operating like a new agent because when I got into the business, it was more like a hobby and I was pursuing entertainment. But I recently just got back into business a year ago, a year and a half ago, actually. And I just switched over to EXP 2 weeks ago from Cowell. And I already have a listing that's out.
Congrats. Yeah. I think ultimately, one of the things I feel, and we've talked about this before, is people that come into the business that treat it as a hobby never get the traction because you're not consistent with your business as a business. We want it to be flexible and we want the freedom and we're going to do it Thursday, but we're not going to do it Saturday, all those things. Without the consistency upfront, you're not going to establish the habit. And what Cari is talking about, doesn't matter if it's networking or anything, you have to become an educated agent in order to add the value, not just care, but you're going to have add value in what you do. And so when I've helped onboard agents, I basically tell them, if you're a brand new agent, newly licensed, you basically just took your ACTs and you got into an industry. Now you're in real estate 101. 101, 102, and 103 are going to happen in 3 months. You have to just be full-time, all in, scripting, being around people, learning from people, interacting with people. The one great thing about EXP is it's so virtual, and Cari does a ton of training and things like that where you can jump in and really learn a lot and network among your peers and be a referral to them or back and forth. That's always a great way. But it's also like, if you're an introvert, if my experience has also been is you're timid in the sense of being able to be knowledgeable and educated and able to add the value that you believe you have. In order to get there, it takes practice, scripting, and preparation. So if you're somebody that needs that like specific, I need to, get my script down, figure out what I want to say, then know what I want to say to whom, and follow that and be super prepared, you're going to gain confidence because you're now going to be repeating that process. Works on the phone, works in Zooms, and it works in person. So it's from a systems perspective, it's always be prepared and know what you want to say. And then I'm a batch person. So if I'm going to talk to buyers, I'm going to do all my buyer calls, meet with people that on this, and I have the buyer conversation. If I'm talking to listings, I'm over here to having a listing conversation, talking about market, talking about comps, talking about these other pieces. So, but the biggest thing is just, you have to take that first step. And like Cari said, not everybody is for everybody. And so people don't sometimes like my strong personality because like, whoa, girl, hang on, and you'll find the people that you fit with, because you're going to be attracting that type of a person because of your own personality and whatever superpower you can bring to the table. So, yeah, I hope that's helpful. It does.
Yes, it was. Thank you.
The part that I would not, there's just not enough emphasis around is it is a full-time job. And especially now with the market shifting the way it is, it has to be 8 to 5 or beyond, doing extra open houses, shadowing an agent that you admire, anything like that, just to make sure that you're out there getting educated and staying engaged with the whole, the market. Awesome. Good. I'm glad to have a question to answer. That's
great.
Fun. Yeah. So I was at the Minneapolis regional rally on Monday. Yeah. So I got to see some great EXP people, and Glenn Sanford popped in for a 30-minute segment and met some people locally. And I'm an introverted extrovert, I think I would call myself. I'm an outgoing person, but I really like my quiet time. And so I love being around and networking with the people, but I spent the time in the car on the way back with just no radio on or anything, just thinking. And as somebody who's been in real estate for a while, but also somebody that's in there, like I'm in the phase of life where I'm 5 years from retirement and I'm thinking about what that's going to look like. And I really have some specific financial goals. It does help me go through the process of identifying what expenses I need to cut, or how I can step back in my business, or how I can help advise somebody in their business to make good decisions right now, because we tend to just forget that we're spending money. A lot of times we're in the thick of it, and we're doing the listings, and we're adding staff, and we're paying out bonuses, and we got a temporary runner, and we've got all of these things happening. And when we have to take a moment to kind of step back and really say, okay, how is my pipeline looking? Has it changed? And part of this is if you did the exercise last month when you started thinking about your 2024 plan, but you haven't really gotten into your budgeting yet. Now, this is where I'd love you to kind of like dig in. I recently just went through and saw all of the things that were coming out of my PayPal account that were automatic payments. And I went, oh my gosh, I haven't looked at those subscriptions for a year. I don't need them anymore. Like the dripping, the leaking money that was coming through on just those auto subscriptions that were coming through. So as you look at your bank statements, a really good exercise, there's a great podcast called Would Make Give that Ben Kinney does. And he goes through an exercise of printing out your bank statements and then highlighting in green anything that can be cut, that is a waste, that is something that you're just not even aware you're spending money on, right? The other thing my husband and I do is we adjust our budgets. We have our own like meeting every other week, and we say, we didn't change our budget for gas, even though gas prices went up. And so we're like sitting there tooling along and realizing we're not meeting, we're over budget on things and we can't figure out where it's happening. Well, here groceries had gone up, gas had gone up. We, other things that we had not planned for weren't built into that. So, you kind of get set on autopilot when you're in your business. And if you're like me, you're a business and personal kind of cross in a lot of ways. So just being aware and then really making some purposeful decisions on expenses, subscriptions that can be removed, negotiating with some vendors. One of my clients just was talking the other day about, he does a lot of listings, and a lot of these photographers or other companies are starting to see a decline in their business. And now is the time to come in and say, hey, I don't want the 25 photo package anymore. I want to do this. And we need to cut some expenses. Could we renegotiate how much this package costs us, given that we give you so much business? And kind of just talk through those opportunities with those vendors and see if there's any way that you can make some savings that way as well. Any questions so far on anything yet? No? Okay, perfect. So we talked about the really visible things, the things that you can see in your bank account, the things that you can see that you have to really consciously make a decision about removing from your subscriptions, that type of thing. What vendors can you negotiate with? If you're in a physical office and paying for space, are you maximizing that space? Is that still the long-term goal that you might have? Is there any way to gain efficiencies in your, internet bills? Could you do a hotspot? Are there ways that you can kind of carve out some dollars and cents that way as well? The next piece is always going to be your most expensive resource as your people. And I'm somebody that really assesses, what is everybody doing? Are they doing it to their full capacity? Does anybody have any extra time? Have we provided opportunities for people to grow and learn new things? Can we merge some roles a little bit and cross-train and be able to add and layer on some additional things? That all starts with your processes, and that's ensuring that your processes are efficient from the beginning. I'm in the process right now, actually, of creating processes. So it's been top of mind, going through each step and determining whether or not the step in that process truly adds value. Because the actual step of the process is using somebody's time, it's using a resource. And if it's not really adding value and you're adding additional work, double entering, not using automations, that type of thing, it's time to really step back and say, wow, if I could reduce the time it takes to do this step from 30 minutes to 15 minutes, from 60 minutes to 30 minutes, you're freeing up additional time to leverage that person for other tasks. And if you've already got someone that's talented, that is able to take on new things, and you can free up their time to take on additional things, you've just really saved yourself a ton of time and headache trying to think about, do I have to onboard another person? Do I have to find a temp? What are the things I have to do? So from the very smallest types of procedures that you're doing within your business, are you assessing the fact that all of those steps are legitimately necessary to be done? And if they are, do the people doing them know how to do them at the most optimal pace so that they're going from step A to B to C very smoothly versus, shotgunning over here? And then is there a repetitive way that things are being done so that you're not missing out on the proper steps within that process? So when it comes to your staff, though, sometimes you're in a good space where you're actually growing and you need to add staff and enhance skill sets and that type of thing. And recently I've found there's been more and more kind of fractional roles taking place in the marketplace. Myself in the operations world, I have other director of operations out there, and there's an ability for us to be able to step in and maybe work in a fractional perspective, like a quarter time for this team, doing the high level things, helping with staffing, that type of thing, but not being your full-time staff member, which would still free you up from that part of the business that might be taking away from your lead gen time. So there's fractional CFOs, there's fractional COOs, there's ways that you can leverage professionals, but not hire that high paying role for your business and still gain the value that they can bring to help you build your business out as an idea. If you are in a position where you're seeing that the business is, declining a tiny bit, but you don't want to lose your staff and you have to find creative ways to make sure that they're valued and making good use of their time, maybe they can help another partner with their business, and they can become like a shared resource that you could maybe get an hourly wage from. Do you have a talented marketing person that could do marketing for another individual on the side, that type of thing, if they can free up the hours to do that? So thinking creatively on how to retain your talent, make sure that they're using their skills efficiently, and that your business is actually taking the time not to freak out about what isn't happening, but assessing and using that valuable new time that you now have available to really dig deep and evaluate your systems and your processes and your people, and really kind of come out of into the new year with like a refreshed perspective on how the business is going. What are some of the things I haven't talked about in terms of like financial, budgeting, business, kind of making sure that you guys are feeling on track for the new year? Is there anything else, in your operations that you feel needs an assessment, that needs a set of eyes to kind of determine whether or not it's going the way you expect it to go? Where are your challenges in that way?
I love that. While you guys are getting ready to raise your hand or chat in the chat box, and those of you watching live stream, you can chat below the live stream, so don't be shy. I think that it's worth reiterating what Sharon said. Moving into the new market, Sharon, myself, I know Angie, I know you guys have been in the business for a long time. I don't know the rest of you. I've been in the business for 24 years. I've been through lots of different markets. The number one thing that you can control are your expenses right now. You might not be able to control the exact income that you bring in, and it might be less than last year, the last few years, and that's okay. It doesn't mean you can't survive it. We all have, and you will find ways to work with people who need your help if you're willing to do the work. And it is very, very smart to be tightening up, like just kind of, as they say, shake off all the fleas, right? Like all those little subscriptions you forgot you had, business and personal, just, do you need Netflix and this and that, just reassessing everything, because all of those things add up to be quite a bit. And also, when you sometimes take those things off your plate, you can actually be more strategic to then go put money into places that are actually going to help you grow in this changing market. So we want to be able to take advantage of opportunities that are in front of us as well. So it's not just about tightening up and coming from a place of lack and like, we just got to cut all of our expenses. It's really like, okay, what can we do right now that isn't as important, that frees us up to go do something that could be a greater opportunity as well, because opportunity always abounds in a changing market. So I think that your conversation around financials with yourself, your significant other, business partners, et cetera, both personal and professional, are a very, very, very big part of your business planning for the new year as we're entering a new market for sure.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Well, I just had the conversation, and in my business, what I'm doing on the coaching standpoint is like my virtual assistant. We just had the Growth Collaborative meetup here in Minnesota, and AI came up, and there was an agent that talked about this. It's video, VIDYO, where it'll take a video and it will cut the clips. So for me, for what I'm doing and with my social media, and I'd already leveraged it out to a VA for my assistant. And now I'm going to be able to leverage her time like 1, 2, 3 layers even deeper, because what she's been doing with cutting my videos, now there's AI. So it's also taking what we're doing right now in our business, or if we do have employees, and how can we, with all of the technology, and not a very big, I think one of them was $20 a month, but if that's going to save hours and hours and hours of time, it's also taking what we're doing right now, and if it has to still be done, how can we do it faster, quicker, more efficiently, and higher quality? Because a lot of technologies there that I'm not, we're not even aware of unless we get in the right rooms or talk to the right people or happen to Google the right thing.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And there's one of the agents that I'm assisting. We've been trying to come up with ways to leverage his time best and provide the team with all the things that we need. And we decided we would try, when he does a listing, he's just going to do a video walkthrough with his phone, walk through the whole property. He gives us all the details of that property, and he goes, oh, let's make sure we ask this, 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 and this. He sends that video off to the team, and now we have everything we need to get started versus waiting for the checklist and not seeing the photos yet and not knowing what's going on. So just spending a few more minutes up front saved the whole team more time in our preparation for that. And then also just, I'm someone who loves to go to events and go to like the trips and going over and visiting all the things. And my husband and I, we both had to just take a step back, and he goes, I know that you make great networking there and whatever. He goes, but what would you do if you didn't have to, didn't go to those physically, but could still gain the, the knowledge and the notes and all the things from there. And I think it's really kind of a time of our lives where I'm like, do I want to work harder or smarter? Do I want to be present or be, you know, take advantage of these types of opportunities where we have so much free content that's being shared with us? Do we really need to spend the extra $2,500 to fly and hotel and do the thing to be that fear of missing out? And so that's one of the areas I really have to grow in, because I love all of those things. I love traveling and being around people. But I'm really going to take a step back next year and really be selective if I do 1 versus 3 or something like that. And the other thing, just from my perspective, I've again, 7 years in real estate. I've done 3 deals and all of them were in this year, 2023. And it's only because they were family and friends and I helped the buy side. And I'm like, okay, but it made me realize that some of these aging agents are just not in tune with what's going on in the market anymore. They've gotten, for lack of a better word, lazy. And you know, I've, in my time with my previous team and doing what I've done, I've touched well over 1,500 transactions as a transaction coordinator and operations staff member. And just feeling like we're having to do more and more work on our side of the transaction to keep the deals together. And so I guess my point is, be a student of the business. As things change, as you have more time, you know, it's not spend 3 hours a day doing this. It's like carve out 30 minutes for, you know, reading what's on the real estate news or look at something on Inman or stay relevant. But again, like Cari said, don't come from this lack, you know, because business is, you know, down or up or whatever, but really get honed in on your schedule and making sure that you're time blocking your lead generation. And if you don't have appointments, like double down on learning and being really that subject matter expert and that professional advisor, so that you can really gain a leg up on your competition. Because finding these other agents in the market that just really haven't been paying attention or just are doing the least amount of work, you're going to rise above them because you're going to have so much more knowledge and ability in a company like EXP that's growing. I think Glenn said we're going to hit 90,000 agents this week. So, you know, and we're going to see a lot of the residual effects of the market changes. What is there? Over 120,000 agents have left the business in the last 2 years. I can't even think, but you know, as long as you can weather the course, and weathering the course, whether it's personal finances or business finances, means making adjustments, you know, really honing on what is important to you, why it's important to you, what are you willing to, you know, kind of give up for the temporary situation that you're in, and how can you help others do the same thing? I mean, I'm looking at the screen and I see mature and dedicated individuals that jump on these calls and really want to learn and add value. And this is the way we do it, by, you know, giving of ourselves to others. And like Cari said, it always comes back to you tenfold.
I was muted. I love it. I mean, I think it's amazing. This is a really good point. You know, how do we stay on top of things? How do we do things that make sense for us being in the business maybe a long time, or maybe those of us that we've been through all the technology changes, and, you know, we might not be the ones all the time that are embracing it the most, but that's okay. How do we learn from each other? How do we figure out how to simplify our businesses using some of these tools? How do we help each other? How do we go and bring people that are at some of these traditional brokerages that I think, quite frankly, really lost when it comes to progressiveness and learning and growing and being around big thinkers, and having a model where we actually are incentivized to come from contribution and help one another as agent owners and as shareholders. I think it changes the game. And I love this. I think it's fantastic. Sharon, that should be your niche when you're out there talking to agents. We got to talk about this. I'm super excited. What else? I mean, this is a great conversation. Anybody else have anything? Sherry or Bettina, do you guys have anything to share? Nice to meet you guys, by the way.
You know, I'll dive into people a little bit, because I do spend a lot of my time with staff and onboarding people, and some of the struggles that come with that, and how to like keep people engaged and motivated and valued. We are, I have new VAs, I have new staff members. I'm always like, we use Slack and we engage with that. And I do a ton of Loom videos, really quick stuff where I can say, hey guys, I saw this happen. Here's the process end to end. Let me know if you have any questions. We're always problem solving, but I think right now it's easy for us to get down on ourselves or down on our team emotionally, and making sure that we're, you know, we're honest and transparent when it comes to what the state of our business is, because everybody's kind of seeing it and feeling it. And if you're not talking about it, then people start getting scared. And if you involve them in the conversation, not to the degree that beyond like a normal professional relationship, but just say, hey, you know, I'm seeing over the next quarter, it might be a really good time for us to clean up our systems and our folders and put, you know, take files away and prep a mailing for our clients and kind of refocus on some projects when we have time. So what do you think? Like, how can you help? What do you think you're good at, you know, and get them to buy in? Because by alleviating the fear that their job is in jeopardy, especially if you're a paid staff, and if you guys don't, you know, earn, you know, commission, I don't get paid either. So, and then where can we, you know, pivot a little bit to add to their skill set and make them feeling more confident in their role. There's always projects from an operations standpoint. I will guarantee you there's a Google Drive somewhere that needs cleaning up. I will guarantee you there is paper files from transactions from 5 years ago that are in a filing cabinet somewhere. I will guarantee you there are ways to, you know, get your ops manuals either created or refined and let your ops people work through those projects and really help hone your business in and get it to the place where you're feeling really confident in your systems and processes. Because when you talk about attraction, people are going to be attracted to a business that runs efficiently and has removed all the complexity of, I need all these, you know, widgets and special software and all these fancy things to run an efficient business, when really you don't. You need a simple process that's repeatable, that's easy to follow, that people will follow. And the more simplified your business is, the more time you're freeing up for yourselves.
I love it.
Yeah.
So just to share on top of that, if I may, we actually took last week, and we took it because I could feel that energy shift, just like you said, right? And we actually, and I was kind of frustrated because I did feel like while we have been going really fast, we got sloppy. So last week I was like, no more marketing, no more outbound calls, none of that. And we just took last week to really learn the tools that we use, because I feel like we've been using our tools on a superficial level. Because you said Slack, I was like, okay, we're going to spend the morning, we're going to have show and tell on Slack, right? And then we're going to do show and tell in Trello. And we got all excited about, like, it does automation, like Trello does all these automations, and you can set up all these roles and do all these things in Trello. And we've been just like using it on a superficial level.
Yes.
And like, we didn't even know. So we've been taking this time to really really know all the tools that we have. CapCut, we're using it on a superficial level. Video, we're using it on a superficial level. Like, just the reason we bought it is the only reason we use it. And then there's like, it does all of these other things. And what we found is that one tool, right, will actually replace like these other 3 tools.
Yeah.
If we just would have dived in, KCM, I still have our old EXP logo on there, cleaning that up.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And just using this time for that. And just like you said, the VAs can feel it, like our staff can feel it. So we're very much like taking as many opportunities to celebrate and to shift our energy and make sure that we're celebrating every day and throughout the day. Just kind of do energy checks.
Yeah. It's so good. I love that. I'm a geek. I geek out on stuff like that. I was somebody that literally could probably be a hoarder, cleaner, outer person, because I love like pulling all the junk out of the closets and getting it sorted and set, and, you know, figure out a better way to put things and tossing things out. You know, I love getting things organized. I could sometimes be, it's a distraction for me. Like if I'm stressed out about something, I'll start cleaning or organizing. And my husband will say, didn't you just clean out the bookshelf last week? I'm like, yeah, I just had to get some thoughts off my head or something. But the more, you know, I don't know how to do some of the tasks the VAs do. And I, like, you write the procedure. I wanted to see what you think how it flows and what systems you do in the order that you do it in. Once you do that, then I can help figure out, oh, okay, well, should we try it this way? Could we reorganize this a little bit? And then you flow from A, B, C to D. And we have, she says, please come to my house and get stressed. My children love me for that. Like, I do their laundry. Anyways, yeah, I think it's more of like empowering people brings out their joy. Making them feel valued brings out their joy. When it comes to VAs, especially, guys, I've hired and processed and managed and fired, 20 plus VAs in my career in the last 5 years. A $10 virtual gift card goes a long way in a VA's world, right? It's not, if you're going to cut expenses, don't cut it on how you take care of your people. The gratitude that you can show them, the small things you can do for them, being kind, coaching, not blaming, understanding. And I always say this to my people. I said, hey, that's on me. My DNA is all over this right now because you do not have a good, solid checklist right now to work from. And that's on me. So that's what I'm working on today. But I want them to feel like I'm owning my role in their success. And they're not always forthcoming when they're feeling, I don't know something, or I don't know how I should ask that. And just being able to be vulnerable, transparent, honest as you navigate the business, just going to bring you a better core team in the end anyways. So.
Love it.
Well, that's about all I had to cover today, Cari.
Great
I
conversation. I love this. So Bettina and Sherry and Corey and Angie, just so you know, Sharon and I have been talking about, she's coming here and doing this every month. So if you know people at EXP that have staff that just really want to dive into their operations, if they don't have staff, we really want to continue to bring people in on this monthly call, but we would also be happy to do some other specific, Zoom calls. So you can find Sharon on Work Chat. So if you're interested in that, or if you just want to talk about some things that she's been doing for other teams here with us. This is why I was so excited to partner with Sharon, because she really has a skill set that a lot of us as agents, top performing agents don't have. And she, is coming to rescue in a few of our top teams, really just helping them optimize and simplify and just get things in order so that they can thrive in these upcoming markets. And so I just can't say enough about you, Sharon, and I really appreciate you bringing your value always and pouring into people and always rising to the occasion. And Angie, who's on the call, is a phenomenal coach as well. Angie does a lot of calls here. And by the way, on Mondays, at noon Central, you can calculate your time zone. Angie does a motivation, market update, mindset shift. It is literally 20 to 30 minutes. It's Mondays at noon Central. She is a strong mindset coach and business coach, and she brings in a lender who's basically able to service most states. And we're just literally like, how do we start our week off? Mindset, motivation, market update. We got to keep ourselves in the game. If we're not in the game, we can't win it. And so if you have agents that you'd like to join that, if you want to join that, it's right here. It's the same link that you're on today, and it's Mondays right here. And we live stream it on EXP Family Tree. Angie just started that for the first time this week. So just a new update on that, you guys. It looks like there's another question. Unmute yourself really quick for the last question.
No?
Let's see what it was. Who asked it? Bettina.
Oh,
she
she
said,
asked me about the gift card, so I'll get
and you already did. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. For some reason, it just popped up for me, so I thought it was another new question. Awesome. And really quickly, yep, we have a number of people still watching live. No questions there. So I think we covered everything we need to for today. You guys know where to find us on Work Chat. Hopefully, we'll see you back here soon. If you want more operation stuff, reach out to Sharon, and then she can maybe put something more regular together as we move into the new year. Thanks, you guys, for being here. Nice to meet you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.